If you've ever felt the masculine urge to bleed out on the floor of the Reichstag, surrounded by your best bros in the conclusion of the brutal, bloody battle for Berlin, hit that subscribe button. We have originally filmed this interview in Crescent, Pennsylvania on a cold and snowy day, but the video got corrupted. We weren't able to edit and upload it. Now, this event, Berlin, Death of the Reich, has been a long time coming, and we are proud and honored to bring the 80th anniversary of the Battle for Berlin to life. Death of the Reich is taking place from May 22nd, 2025 until May 25th. The coordinating group, the OSOAVIAKhIM Foundation, is working with Lodestone Training and Consulting to showcase the brutality of block-by-block fighting and preserve the memories of those who fought to the very end. We are here with the former factory event commander Andrew Worth, former military history preservation group and associate coordinator, who portrayed Captain Andrei Vasilyevich Kosarev. Andrew, what is your relation to the OSOAVIAKhIM Foundation?
Well, first of all, Здравствуйте, hello, and this is going out on Christmas, so Merry Christmas, с Рождеством. I'm just an advisor for OSOAVIAKhIM. They have like a central staff guy that does the day-to-day tasks, and I just advise them. I have no real power, but it's a fantastic framework, it's a fantastic network to host an event through, and I couldn't ask for a better team to make such a big event happen, such as Berlin Death of the Reich, such as our other event, Occupation and Rebellion. Fantastic team.
So, what is OSOAVIAKhIM? What does it stand for, and who's a part of it?
OSOAVIAKhIM is it's a network. It's not really a traditional reenacting unit because it's made up of other units and individuals. A few other groups have tried to go for this, but they ended up pulling a lot of power over the individual units, making them lose their autonomy, and that's absolutely not what OSOAVIAKhIM is trying to do. They've given me pretty much free reign to do my own thing and host my own events, and given me plenty of support. The goal is just to get Soviet and Eastern Front reenacting units to talk to each other and make big things happen. No matter who gets the glory for it, because there's no such thing as glory in reenacting.
Let's dive into you a bit. How did you become a coordinator of such a big event?
I started coordinating events just because I was friends with people that coordinated events. They gave me things to do, and I did them. And just like anybody who coordinates events, I found a place that was willing to host an event, asked them, they said yes, and now we have an event. And I want it to be a good event. And I have experience, I've been in this hobby for almost over 10 years. So, yeah, I know what makes a good event, and I want to make a good event.
What motivated you to stay in the hobby for so long?
The people, for sure. A lot of the best, most genuine, kindest people I've ever met in my life are in this hobby. I've met some of the worst people I've ever met in my life too, but fortunately they weren't bad enough to spoil the good people for me. It's amazing to me that I can drop into an event, hundreds of miles from my home, and I'll have mutual friends with the people that are there. There will always be good people there, people that are willing to give you the shirt off your back to make sure that you don't freeze. Just great people. I couldn't ask for a better community in this hobby.
So what is your average reenactor like, and what's life in the Red Army like?
Average reenactor's a good person. The average reenactor really cares about history. They really care about getting the truth out. They're really passionate about... So, we can get a little bit academic about this and talk about the public perception of history. World War II, as World War II veterans quickly die out. This is, it's not public conscience anymore. It's not a living memory of history. And I think that reenactors and the general public are really important to getting the public to embrace this, this consciousness where it's leaving living memory and going into public consciousness. We're aware that it happened, but nobody's around that really remembers it. And this is where, historical memory can get skewed. And this is where it's really important to teach the public about the truth, about what really happened. And, that kind of bleeds into what was the average Red Army soldier like, the average German soldier. They were someone who was just trying to protect their home. Politicians lied to them, told them that sacrificing their life would be for the best. Um, Obviously the Soviet Union, they were defending themselves, and Germany felt that it was defending itself offensively. Um, you know, and that's this video isn't to get into that, but the average soldier was a good person. They were just doing their job, just following orders. Some people took that too far, but that's history. I think that part of reenacting is making these decisions, making these, getting into the mindset of someone in World War II, because there's no other opportunity really to do that so immersively, other than maybe video games, but you're not really feeling it.
What were some challenges you faced coordinating Stalingrad?
One of the big problems with Stalingrad is everybody thought we were assholes, to be a little bit frank. And yeah, we were. We put really strict standards in a hobby that wasn't really ready for it. And some people were ready, some people weren't. It made a lot of change in the hobby, but it also made a lot of division. And I think that that's what OSOAVIAKhIM is trying to remedy, is this division, between the people who have the money to blow on all this expensive Gucci kit and the people who bought stuff 10 years ago and don't want to change. And that's, both of those things are fine. And I think, as I've gotten older in reenacting, I've realized that it's not about, perfection. You're never going to get perfection. This is what, an American pine tree. They don't have these in Europe. It's never going to be perfect. And so demanding that everybody else be perfect, it's just not a thing. Nobody's event is going to be ruined because the screws on your canteen are slightly bigger, or you have an additional seam on your rain cover when it's pouring rain. I'd much rather have someone have a canteen to drink water out of so they don't become a casualty. I'd rather have someone have something to cover themselves from the rain so they don't freeze and have a miserable event, than to have perfection in everything. And with late war Soviet, and German, it starts to get into, it's easier to document the things that aren't allowed versus the things that are allowed. So yeah, this isn't going to be like a stitch counting bullshit. Nobody's ever getting kicked out of one of my events for authenticity reasons. We've even had people show up in tennis shoes, and we found a way to make it work. Wrap their feet in bandages. Like, it's not... The authenticity guidelines aren't the event coordinators looking down at reenactors and saying, you have to be good enough to come to my event. It's just to make sure that the pictures look good. I've been to some events that did like a 10% authenticity. We're about like 80-90% authenticity, and that definitely made the event less enjoyable. But I think the 80-90% authenticity, that's great. I don't think anybody will have a, if they have a problem with that, I think their event would have been ruined by the fact that there's 80s buildings on the site anyway.
Do you think your experiences in Stalingrad will translate into Berlin? How, and in what cases?
There are very few people in this reenacting hobby that have experience in urban warfare. There just aren't a lot of sites. There are other sites. Enfield, there's one in Iowa, there's one in California, but, I don't know how to respond to that. But yes. Stalingrad was interesting. It was totally unlike anything that I'd done before, and I gather that was the case for a lot of the people who attended. And I'm really excited to go back into urban warfare, to play with storm groups again. We're not digging trenches, we're not fighting over a hill, we're fighting over a building. It's dirty and gritty combat, and not, sitting on a foxhole simulator.
What did you find most enjoyable about Stalingrad?
Exactly that it was something different. It was something totally different I'd never done before. the water in my canteen kept freezing, my hands kept freezing. I barely slept for 4 days, but damn if that wasn't one of the best reenactments I've been to. One of the most immersive things I've done, you know, and I hope that we can get some of that feeling back at Berlin. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be another Stalingrad. It's going to be very different, but I hope that we can get the quality. I mean, it'll be pretty easy to get the quality above Stalingrad 2020, but I just hope that people like it. I hope that, you know, it's remembered on as fondly as those old Stalingrad events were.
So, how do you feel about Berlin? Are you nostalgic? Happy?
Oh, I'm very happy. Very nostalgic. It feels good to give something back to the community again. I've been on like a 2-year hiatus from planning events, so this is really big that get to come back with a bang, and you know, who knows what'll happen after this. This might be the last one.
For those on the edge about participating in Death of the Reich, what differentiates this event from others?
For one, well, yeah, it's the site. We have access to dozens of buildings, old-timey buildings. It feels cool. There's tunnels. There's urban combat, fighting out of windows. You know, you just don't get this at a regular site. And they're really giving us pretty free reign of this site. And the command team. You know, I've been an Ohio reenactor for 10 years. I don't remember working very much with the Northeast because there's just kind of been a separation there. And I'm really excited to work with the Northeast. Really great reenactors out there. Chad Carey is our combat commander. And, you know, I haven't worked with him planning an event before. And so it's a totally different perspective on how some things are done. And I really like it. So it's going to be different. It's going to be run differently from Stalingrad. If you went to, you know, other events that coordinated Kursk or Smolensk, it's going to be different. It's going to feel different. But I think it's going to be good.
So who is under your command, and how does command work in this event?
So, I'm the head event coordinator. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be doing everything on the ground. There are 2 combat commanders, Chad Carey on the Soviet side and Doug Landry on the German side. They're going to be doing the brunt of the combat action. And I also have a counterpart on the German side, who's going to be focusing on coordination, like the event level coordination. On the Soviet side, I have a really great team. We already have signals worked out. If you do a NKVD or a border guard kit or a say Grundle Marine Feldgendarm impression, those are going to be the gate guards. So the site is actually a prison. It was a former prison, so it's entirely surrounded by concertina wire. You have to get in through a gate. We're going to have guys doing NKVD and Feldgendarmerie because they were both in Berlin, and they're going to let people in and out of the gate. You have to be walked in and out with a handler, basically, because it's impossible to get out of the site without access to one of those gates, and they're not allowed to be left open. So, I'm rambling. I don't remember what the original question was.
Who is under your command, and how does
Who's under
command
my
work
command?
in the event?
We also have Politrux, and we're interviewing one of the original a Berlin veteran in a few weeks who was on the Reichstag roof. So we're going to get some nice, I don't know what will be useful for reenacting, but we're going to get some really nice first-person accounts of what it was actually like to be in this battle. And as for on-the-ground command, squad platoon level command, that's going to be decided by the units. So, about 90 days out from the event, we're going to get together all of the unit leaders who have agreed to, you know, our group is going to go, or we're going to reach out to groups and have them, elect a leader. And, if you have 6-8 guys, enough guys to make a squad, then you're going to be your own squad. If you have, 25, 30 guys, then you'll be a platoon. If you're just on a first squad, we'll combine you with other squads, make sure it's people that you're agreeable with, and you guys will select your own platoon leader. A few of them are already picked. SS is already picked. But the point is that you're with people you want to be with. You're not artificially shuffled around. You got to pick your own leadership. You're not assigned some asshole that you've never met. And there's no long-winded course. I'm probably going to do a call with squad leaders, platoon leaders before the event just to run through some things, but I'm going to try and limit that to an hour or two at tops. It's going to be a lot freer than maybe West Coast or Midwest people are used to, but because it's within a unit, the unit already has their own protocol and things, it will still feel very connected. It will still feel like a military chain of command.
What most excites you about the upcoming Death of the Reich event?
What most excites me? Just doing this stuff again. It's fun. Doing urban combat again, getting to wrap up the 80th anniversary. It's a fitting end. It's a fitting end to the 80th anniversary series that I've been participating in, trying to make happen since 2021, since 2020.
Do you have any closing remarks about yourself, your teammates, or the event?
Please register. It's going to be a great one. I can promise you that. It's going to be a fucking great one. Team's great. Could not ask for a better team. I couldn't ask for a better site. I'm so excited for this. Yeah. And Merry Christmas.
And that's all we have, folks. Andrew Worth, Captain Kosarev, thank you for answering our questions and putting this heavily anticipated event together. This is Alina of On Guard News, signing off.